I'm David James, and this is 2 Main Street on the road at Preservation Station. And it's a far cry from the dream of Deborah Coombs and her daughter, Jennifer Higdon. It is a sprawling 39,000 square foot former schoolhouse, and it's filled with all kinds of items. It's an adventure every time you turn the corner and find something different in a classroom. Also, a wooden gym floor with an elevated stage, nostalgia at its very best. So exactly where are we? Well, the map says West Louisville in Davis County, Kentucky. Or as the ladies say, about 3 songs on the radio on a drive from Owensboro. So now let's meet the dynamic duo who run this place, the mother and daughter, partners who keep the shoppers happy at Preservation Station, Deborah Coombs and Jennifer Higdon. So thanks, ladies, for inviting us here at Preservation Station. And I guess the first question I have is, a mother and daughter, so who's the boss here?
I think our staff is still trying to figure that out.
So who has the final say? Somebody's got to have the final say. Is it always just, you guys just come to an agreement?
We usually come to an agreement.
Really?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, mother and daughter
It's
getting
50-50.
along?
Yes.
Wow, and a business as well. So tell me about this old schoolhouse. I know it's got a great history, and so what was the schoolhouse like? I mean, when you took it over, what condition was it in?
It was actually in pretty decent condition. I mean, we did spend 2 years doing repair work and going through the process of rezoning through planning and zoning for 2 years prior to opening. But that stage, for example, actually had 2 classrooms on top of the stage with 16-foot steel studs that covered the entrance to the stage. And we tore all of that out so that we could bring the stage back and have some entertainment on the stage. But we painted every single inch of this building. We redid some flooring, kind of a labor of love for 2 years before we opened to the public.
Mm-hmm. Now, this was not the little shop that you had dreamed of, right? A lot bigger than your initial dream.
No, we had went to several auctions and looked at small houses, and then we had heard that this was going to go up for auction, and she happened to be in the hospital that day, but I came with her husband, and so we bought it at auction, and our family thought was crazy. What in the world are you going to do with that big old school? Do you know how much it would cost to tear it down? And we said, yes, we have a plan, but anyway, that's how it started.
We got lots of jokes in the beginning. What are you going to do, live in it? I said, no, I have a plan.
Now, was the auction in 2012, is that right?
2012, April of 2012. And I was in the hospital. I had gallbladder removal surgery and got a text from a local businessman that said, congratulations. And I thought, wow, they did it. I'm not even there, and they did it.
Now, this was a former West Louisville school?
Yes.
Was it, kindergarten through 6th, or what was it?
Kindergarten through 5th grade. There was
Okay.
about 300 to 400 students who went here on a daily basis.
And of course, now we have the new West Louisville school just down the road, very modern. I think it's a blue ribbon school too, isn't it? Very good school. Okay, so it's always been your dream to run a business with your mom, Jennifer?
Well, we used to talk that if all of the men were coming out here to this area to go shopping at the Whitaker's Gun Shop next door, which is pretty, big business for being this far out, that maybe the wives would start coming with them if there was an antique shop next door. And we never dreamed that it would be quite this big, but I talked to her and I said, well, maybe we could just do our dream, but on a much bigger level. And so I started kind of putting a vision board together and telling her what I would do with every single area of the school. And she liked the idea and said, okay, daughter, let's see what we can do.
Now, the name of this community is interesting. It's a small community. It's definitely west of Louisville, which is 125 miles away. James Sivers founded the town in 1854 with a log cabin, a whiskey shop, and grocery. Is there still some confusion today when you give directions to West Louisville?
We do not usually say West Louisville. We say Owensboro, because we really do have an Owensboro address.
Okay.
But it is now. But if we say West Louisville, we might have a customer drive to Louisville and say, hey, I'm on the west side. Where are you?
That has happened.
Really?
It has happened.
So we don't mention the little bitty town. We usually just say Owensboro. We're about 10
It
miles.
is very confusing to people. In fact, when this was a school, one of the contractors that placed a bid on putting new windows in this school placed the bid thinking it was in the west side of Louisville. He actually, got the contract and then had to drive to Owensboro to do the work.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Now, let's go back to 2012. The old schoolhouse is suddenly yours. And we talked about its condition. And so how long did it take to get it up to par?
It took, let's see, about a year and a half to 2 years. Yeah, we did a lot of cleaning. A lot of the teachers would hang the kids' artwork from the ceiling with paper clips. And I remember one day we spent a whole entire day just climbing up and down ladders taking paper clips off the ceilings. And one day she cleaned out all the lockers and scraped out tons of gum out of the lockers.
One whole day just to clean the lockers in the front hall. With a razor blade and cleaning and just to get all but there's so many stickers in there that are very unusual.
Any unusual finds in those lockers, or did they clean them out pretty
just
good?
Lots of candy and gum stuck in those lockers.
All right, that's good. That's a good thing. So was it just pretty well gutted when up for auction?
For
they
the
leave
most
anything
part,
behind?
they did leave quite a few old school desks and some bookcases and things like that, which we painted and repurposed.
Okay, so you got a chance to use those. Okay, sell any of those items?
We did sell the school desk.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, that's good nostalgia to have those anyway. So now you guys have to fill this place.
Yes.
I mean, it's 39,000 square feet, and you want to fill it with merchandise, obviously. Did you have any antiques and curios in your own stash that you brought here?
We did in the very beginning. We were trying to think of how we were going to get people to kind of buy into our dream. So we started out with the empty building, and we had our first market day in December of 2013. The rest of the building was empty. We just had people come through the front door, and we had a show here in the gym. And then I think the next month when we had our next show, we had the first classroom full. And then we talked one of our vendors into moving into the next classroom. And it just kind of cascaded from there. And by the end of the first year of being open, we had the whole top floor full. And then the second year, we started working on the lower level. And by the end of the second year of being open, we had the lower level full. But at one point, when we first started, people would come out here to shop, and it would just be the front hallway that was occupied. But we had to start somewhere.
Yeah. So how many classrooms are we talking about here to fill?
There's 26 classrooms.
26 classrooms. And each one is unique. I mean, you have unique items in each classroom, which I think is cool. So it's kind of the adventure of going to each classroom. And now, what was that very first day like when you opened the doors here at Preservation Station?
The very first market day that we had, we really didn't have anything for the very front classroom. And so she said, "Mom, what are we going to do?" I said, "I'll clean out my basement." So we did. We sold every little treasure that I had collected for a long time to put in that classroom to draw people in, and it did. So, and people started wanting to come and starting their own shop. So
you made some sales that first day.
We did.
Well, that's good. That's
But we've
good.
come a long way, because now people actually call us and we go and we clean out homes. And we buy antiques, and so we do that quite a bit now.
Who was your first vendor?
The very first shop that opened here was called A Window of History, and it was a girl by the name of Amy Williams.
What items sell here the most?
it's probably a mixture. We sell a lot of furniture, antique and new. We have brand new furniture, a whole new furniture line downstairs. But it's probably a mixture of antique and new, because her and I kind of chide each other on, well, the new stuff sold better this month, and I'll be like, the old stuff sold better this month. So yeah, we kind of balance each other. She buys a lot of the new. Well, we both buy new, but then we both go to antique sales too, or mainly homes. Now we're not having to go to as many sales. People will call us and say, you know, I've got a whole house I need to clean out, and we might buy part of it, or we might buy all of it.
Okay.
So.
All right. So the turnover is pretty good on some of these items?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Do you have to, can it stay here for a certain amount of time and then you have to change it over, or how does that work?
I mean, very rarely. Usually if we sit on something too long, we'll just mark it down and it
Oh,
will
okay.
eventually
I got
go.
you. I got you.
But I tell you, some of the uniqueness about the building is, you know, you have people who don't necessarily think that they like antiques, and they might come and they want to shop the boutique, or they might want to look at a new piece of furniture. My sister-in-law, for example, you know, she loves to buy clothing. She mostly buys new furniture, but she came in one day and fell in love with an antique jelly cabinet, and it's in her office. So sometimes you just never know. And so I think the fact that we have such a wide variety of items, and we're not just an antique store, we're not just a boutique, it kind of opens people's eyes into seeing like how different things can be used in their home.
Well, I tell you what, going through this building, it is an adventure. You don't know what you're going to see around the corner. And I think that's the excitement of it. And then you find treasures that you think, I've always been looking for something like that. So I think that's really cool. So what was the feedback from those shoppers in the early days? Did they give you any ideas?
I'm trying to think. I mean, most people gave us positive, you know, comments back, and most people just wanted to see the building full, and that's what our goal was. It just took a little bit of time.
So were these hardcore flea market shoppers that came?
Mostly people who just had a love for vintage items.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We try to stay away from the flea market word. To us, that's a bad F word.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry I used that. Use that.
No, we like, we try.
FLEA word. Yeah. Okay.
We try to have all of our vendors display their merchandise like a store, like a boutique,
Yes.
and try to steer away from just placing items on tables or something. We really want the merchandising to be a part of it.
Right. This place includes antique, collectibles, oddities, foodstuffs, furniture, a restaurant, and an event center. A lot going on in the former schoolhouse. And I was just wondering, there's so much stuff in this building. How do you keep tabs on all of it?
Well, I mean, everything kind of has to go through inventory and get priced, and yeah, we just do it.
Now, they got little tags on each item?
Yes.
Now, that's the vendors do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, but now I'd say at least half of the building is our own merchandise.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. And so any idea how much stuff you have here?
Lots.
I mean, thousands
Yes.
of items?
Yes.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And of course, you couldn't do this alone. You have staff as well. Any family members involved in this?
Occasionally, but we've gotten to the point now to where we try not to use our family members, because in the beginning we used and abused them so much.
How did you abuse them?
Well, like tearing out that stage, we got a family one Sunday afternoon, and we all got in here with crowbars and we tore it out. So
So it was a family project.
Right.
Okay.
And we've hired family in the beginning, and of course my dad, he is Mr. Fix-It. He can fix anything.
Thank goodness.
Yes, and so you know, anytime anything goes wrong, it's pick up the phone, Dad, and he's like, I'll be right there. You know?
So what kind of projects, have you had any really big surprises here?
I guess one of the biggest surprises is when we had to replace some fire doors down in the basement. You could look up in the wall and see a charred beam, because there was a fire to this building in 1948. And back then, they salvaged part of the building that did not get damaged by the fire, and added on. It used to be a two-story school house that had a look much closer to the Sargo School down the road, more of like your Roman columns in the front. And now, to me, when they rebuilt the building, it kind of has this post-World War II kind of bomb shelter kind of look. It's not the most attractive building from the outside, but it's definitely, you know, serves its purpose and functional.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It has a classic look to it. And of course, I love this wooden floor here in the gym and the stage. That's really nostalgic.
And the wooden ceiling here in the gym.
Oh yeah, that's really
vault,
neat.
Wooden
That's neat.
ceiling stuff. Yeah.
Now, any friends and neighbors also pitch in, help you out?
Oh yes, we've definitely used the neighbor next door, Keith Weiss, on a couple projects, and Kay, who works as kind of like our office manager, she just lives down the road, and she's been with us almost since the beginning. And
I guess the neighbors were glad to see somebody move into this place.
They were really happy that we did that. So yes,
'Cause you
a
wouldn't
lot of
wanna-
people wanted to see a good use go to the building. They did not want the building to be torn down, so.
Well, and also sitting abandoned too, you don't want that. That gets really nasty after a while. It gets really run
And
down.
the kids that went to school here, they love the fact that they can come back and,
Oh, yeah.
and walk through the halls of their old school. They always say it looks quite different with a bunch of antiques in their old classroom. But
Yeah. Now you guys, you go on road trips, you told me, to pick up unique items.
that's probably the funnest part of our job. And I really have enjoyed that part of this with my mother. It's enabled us to spend a lot of time together. We go frequently down to Georgia and through Alabama. We go to Texas. We've been up north. We know where there's wholesale warehouses, and we go on buying trips. And also, our favorite thing to do is just to go very far away and explore other shops that are similar to ours to get inspiration. And then when we travel out and we're not talking to shop owners who are necessarily competition, they're very eager to share their secrets as to what's selling. And so a lot of times we pick up really good ideas from other people when we go touring other antique shops.
So what are some items that you've brought home to the preservation station on some of your trips, some of the more unusual items?
We have gotten cowhide rugs, we've gotten canvas art, we've gotten a seasoning that's very funny in our front hall. A lot of people really like it. We get towels that have funny sayings on them and all kinds of vintage cards that might be about old people, and I'm kind of old, and I think it's funny because that me and my friends can laugh about some things. So, but we find all kinds of items. Yeah,
And you
that are
told me
unique.
that you found a Santa Claus somewhere?
Right, we had fun with him coming home, strapping him in the back seat of the car, and got a couple of funny looks from people. It was like, it's March or something like that, and there's this big Santa in the back of our car.
Going down the road and he's strapped in. Yeah.
So you make these trips while the business is closed. Now tell me about your hours here.
So we're open Thursday through Sunday, 10 to 5.
Okay.
And when we first opened, we were open Tuesday through Sunday. We used to be open 6 days a week, but when we reopened after the shutdown in the pandemic, we thought, well, let's just start out kind of slow and see if people are going to be shopping again. Let's just do 4 days a week right now. And we loved it so much, we don't know if we can ever go back.
Now, when did you have the restaurant open?
It opened in 2018.
Okay. And you have a special staff for that, obviously. Mm-hmm. And is that going well?
It's going great. People love our fried green tomatoes. The Holy Cow grilled cheese sandwich is a popular item. We have hand-breaded catfish and chicken tenders, burgers.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite there?
Well, I actually have alpha-gal from a tick bite, so I can't have red meat. So there is a Greek turkey burger on the menu for me.
Oh,
and
okay.
I love it. I have traveled many places trying out, different turkey burgers because they're not easy to find.
Right.
There's not a lot of restaurants that carry turkey burgers. And I'm telling you, we have the best turkey burger.
And you want a moist turkey burger.
Yes, and it's got feta cheese, caramelized onions, and spinach inside of it to keep it moist.
Yum.
And special Greek seasoning to give the turkey meat some flavor, so it's really
Now,
good.
any desserts at this restaurant?
We make homemade desserts downstairs. So on our buffet this past weekend, she had homemade pecan pie, homemade pumpkin pie.
Now, who's she?
Our cook.
Angela Payne, she's our kitchen manager.
And she does all the pastry?
She does all the baking.
Wow, well, that's nice. So these are homemade items. Well, that's the appeal, to come here, get some homemade goodies. So let's see here. Now, you have market days at Preservation Station. Tell me about those.
So market days now takes place 4 times a year, and that's just when we have, an additional 60 or so vendors that come in and fill the gymnasium up with goods, and it's just a one-day event, but it brings out, probably 1,000 or 2 people in one day, and we enjoy it. It's just putting on a show, and sales are always really good those days.
This past weekend, we just had a market day, and we had Christmas music playing throughout the building, and it was very festive, and people just had a really good time.
And in order to feed that many people, we always do a buffet on market day. And so we had a Thanksgiving buffet. So we had turkey and dressing and mashed potatoes and corn and cranberry sauce and all of those goodies on the buffet, and got lots of compliments from people.
So you guys, have you always been bargain hunters and shoppers?
Always. Whenever, I think we first got our taste of it when Mom would have yard sales when we were little, and we would get so excited because we would actually make money off of things that we no longer needed or used. And then I remember whenever I went to college and I found a used bedroom suit that I spent, a weekend painting like a hunter green color, and it looked brand new again. And I was like, wow, you mean I can't believe I got this for so little money. And then I put this time into it, and now it looks great. And we just enjoy going to auctions and flea markets and yard sales, and you find things that make your house unique. It's not everything that everybody else has in their home.
Now, obviously, you haven't run this business your entire lives. You had a life before Preservation Station. And Deborah Coombs, a nurse.
I was a nurse for 22 years.
22 years.
Yes, and so when we first started this business, I was still nursing, and then when it got to a certain point, I decided I needed to be here more. So then I retired from nursing. So.
Well, obviously you enjoyed nursing.
I did. I loved it. I loved caring for the patients. I worked in a hospital and also worked at the Veterans Center in Hanson as the nurse manager on a unit, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. So.
And I also understand you were singing in a group for a while.
In my younger days, I did sing country music, and I did get to open up for a few people. So the Forrester Sisters and Sawyer Brown, and I traveled out to Missouri one time and opened up for an older country singer out there at that time too.
Vern Godson?
No.
No, not him?
No.
Okay.
So did you wear special outfits?
I got to dress up a little bit. So it was fun. It was fun.
Boots with fringe.
Well, I was want to see. I'm trying to visualize this.
Right.
Okay, well that
and
was
all
cool.
the time I was doing that, I had 3 kids. I've been married 50 some odd years, and 51. It was 51 this September.
Congratulations.
And I was also leading the youth singing on Sunday mornings at our church.
Wow, super mom, definitely. Did you get to see her perform ever?
Oh yes, many times. In fact, I can always amaze my friends with how I know all the words to these 80s female country songs because I got to grow up listening to them, her rehearsing her songs in the living room, and they're like, how do you know those words? And I'm like, I know the whole song.
So who are some of your favorite country singers?
Gosh, got a lot.
Did you ever try to imitate anyone, or did you have your own style?
I tried to have my own style.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, just
Yes.
make
Reba,
sure.
Tanya, Barbara Mandrell, Patty Loveless.
She could sing too, but she just didn't want to sing.
I didn't want to do exactly what Mom did.
Oh, I didn't know if you drug her up on stage or anything, or.
We can sing, so
Okay.
she
I can
sings
sing
and I'll
one
do-
song, Delta
Oh.
Dawn.
Yeah, and I do
Delta
the harmony
Dawn.
to it, so yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now,
She
Jennifer.
got caught in Nashville recently too, singing Delta Dawn, and Tanya Tucker actually heard her and sent her a little message. So
I got a video back from Tanya Tucker, but I'm not allowed to share that. But I did get a video from her saying, I heard you singing Delta Dawn.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
What was this, at a restaurant or?
Yes, it was at a restaurant, and one of the girls that was with us knows Tanya and happened to share it with her.
I love that. I love that. Now, Jennifer, you have a teaching career on your resume. Yes. Tell me about that.
Yes, I taught for 13 years at Apollo High School, and I was the staff developer for 8 years at Davis County High School.
What classes did you teach?
English, fine arts, and drama. So I actually put on plays for several years.
Oh, what was your favorite play?
I don't know. We did The Crucible. I love that, with the Salem witch trials.
Wow.
We put on some Edgar Allan Poe short stories.
Oh, you're into dark stuff.
Anna Green Gables.
God.
Pillow
Boy.
talk. I mean, I was just
Okay, all right.
all over the place.
All right, that is, yeah, Pillow Talk's better. Okay,
Yes.
you had some really dark stuff there. I bet the kids love that, though. Oh, definitely, definitely. Now, I like this fact that you never know what you're going to find around the corner. What are some of the feedback you get from shoppers? Did they find something that's really a treasure and they're excited about it? Tell us about those stories.
They do. They also, a lot of people will come in here and they'll say, I had this as a child. I've just got to have it. People, they love going through the memories of their childhood or things that their mom had, and they want to purchase those things because it makes them, makes their house more home. They love being able to find those
Well, I've
things
seen some
here.
vintage toys here that you have that maybe they didn't get as a child and they can get now. And you have old books, and I'm going to show an old book here in a minute that my wife and we discovered here when we were shopping. Before we hear about some of the more unusual items when you come through the doors here at Preservation Station, we cannot forget the indoor outhouse. It's quite an item, and it has a lot of history, doesn't it?
Yes. That outhouse is from St. Raphael's Church, right down the road, and it's probably between around 125 years old at least.
So it's been used.
It's been used. It was outside of the church because the church did not have an indoor bathroom. And my dad, when the church closed, that's one of the items he took home. I don't know why, but
Had to have an outhouse.
yeah. And
Okay.
it's set on my farm on the outside, and we would have family parties, and we would buy the lime and the things you're supposed to, and the young people would be like, what? You're supposed to what?
But it's been cleaned up.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
yes.
been power
It
washed.
It
It's
was
been-
power
sanitized.
washed. It's all solid cedar, and it has a chandelier in it now. So yeah,
And
so
we use it as our indoor photo booth now. So
Yes.
everybody takes pictures in that outhouse, and then they tag Preservation Station in it.
So it's sanitized, and yes, okay. But a lot of people have probably sat in that outhouse over the years. Yes. Famous people maybe as well.
Yes.
Because you said the
you
bishop.
hope holy people.
Yes, that's right. So okay.
Yes,
Anyway.
while they were in church on Sunday.
There you go. There you go. Now, thousands of items here for sale. And what are some of the stranger things that you've had on display here?
One of my favorites, we bought a box of shells, and as I was digging through the box of shells after we got it back here to the building, I thought, this is different, and it's just it's a picture frame that it has shells around it, but I thought inside there's kind of like a metal frame, and I thought, this looks really, really old, and there was a date on the side that said 1914, and then something about the World's Fair. Well, as I started researching, it really was a picture frame that someone had bought maybe for their significant other, a heart-shaped photo frame with shells on the outside of it. It was a souvenir from the 1914 World's Fair in St. Louis. I just thought it was so neat, and I thought, I wonder who bought that, the heart-shaped seashell frame. I don't know. It's just one of my favorites, and we still have it here. I think it's adorable.
Do you guys ever buy anything that the vendors bring in?
Occasionally, yeah. My house has plenty of items in it that.
I know you have some vintage jewelry here, some beautiful stuff, and you have knives and pocket knives and some other bigger, larger knives
Yes.
and everything. The furniture, of course, you said is a big seller. Vintage clothing.
We do, yep. It's always kind of neat to think about who wore that item.
Yeah.
And in fact, the mannequin that's on the stage is wearing a vintage wedding dress that's probably, I don't know, 100 years old. And when you button the back of it, it's like so tedious. It has probably like 100 buttons on
yeah.
the back.
And now you said that the stage, which was classrooms before you took the walls down and everything, and you wanted to have a curtain at the stage. And where did this curtain come from?
Oh, the curtain came from New York. We had to order, a special curtain to give that stage its appeal that it has. So
Now, is it an event center? Have you had weddings here?
we do. We prior to the pandemic, we were having about 10 weddings a year. It slowed down a little bit, but it's starting to pick back up. So we do have weddings in here, and people have actually gotten married in this gym. And then sometimes it's just the reception, but we have some pictures where once this gym is cleaned out and all the tables are covered with white tablecloths, it really is beautiful. And you think it's just a big white room that's kind of like a blank slate, to decorate however you want.
Now, the food items, there's one room there filled with jars of relishes and jams. Tell me about that.
So that's called the Deutsch Corner, and unfortunately, the people that started that booth both just recently passed.
But their family now has taken the business up, and they are selling the items. So
Yes, but they sell like crazy. I mean,
Oh, I bet.
people come out here all the time just for their jams.
Now, what's next for the Preservation Center? Do you have any future plans?
we hope more events in the gym. We have had an old school prom in here. We had Owensboro Catholic High's prom here in Owensboro.
really?
My son had his Owensboro Catholic High School prom in here, and the kids said it was the best high school dance they've ever had.
Oh, I bet on this floor.
We served them, well, they started out with Mass. They had Father Pat Biddle from St. Martin's come over and do Mass, and then we had a dinner where all the parents served food, and then we turned it into a dance floor, and we had lights that went around the perimeter of the room, and that wall looks so big when it has the neon lights on it.
I
And the
bet.
kids were just in here having the best time.
Oh, how classic that was. Now, you said there are former students of the old West Louisville School that come back and check out the place.
Yes.
Yes.
What's the feedback from them?
We even have some photos of some of the kids walking through in their cap and gown. I think they were the last graduating class,
Yeah?
and they wanted to come over here and take pictures.
Any teachers come by?
Oh yeah, we've
Yes.
had plenty of teachers that
They will tell us stories. And when we cleaned out the stage front, there's still old stage lights underneath that. Really, really old ones underneath there. And you would not believe how many kids' notes we found shoved in the little hose in the
underneath
cracks.
the stage.
Yes.
And then there's a room, kind of like an attic room up above the stage, and on the stairs there's all kinds of names where kids carved their
Sure.
names in
Johnny
the
loves
stairs.
Susie or whatever.
Well, what are some of the notes? I'm curious about the notes that you found. Were they like
Little love letters,
Little
like
love
will you
letters.
go
like
with me,
that?
check yes or no kind of things.
Gosh. So now let's see. We talked about the jewelry, the vintage clothing, the furniture, and old books as well. And speaking of old books, let's see. Where's my old book here? My wife, she's with the Girl Scouts of Southwest Indiana. And she's been in Girl Scouts a long time. And we were here shopping, I think it was maybe a year or two ago. And she came across this Girl Scout handbook that we just found on the table there, and 1917. And this is just a treasure. And I think that's probably one of the first handbooks that they came out with. So you never know what you're going to find here at Preservation
don't.
Station. So I guess every day can be an adventure for you guys as well. What's going to come in through the door from
Right.
these vendors? So how often do they come in?
Most of them are here weekly, bringing stuff in. Yeah, I mean, our sales here are really good, and so they have to replenish quite frequently.
So how many vendors do you have now?
I would say now we probably have about 50 permanent vendors. And sometimes they will rent 100 square feet, and then we have some that will rent 700 square feet a month. It just depends on, how big they want to take their business. But we've also had several vendors who started out here who now have their own shops downtown. So I don't know, it kind of warms my heart to make us feel like they supported our dream, but we in turn help support theirs because, they gained some skills here that in turn that enabled them to take it on the road.
Are they all local vendors?
No, we have people from Clarksville, Tennessee,
Evansville.
Central City, Henderson,
Santa Claus Land.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
and we have some vendors that have been with us since day one pretty much, and they're still here. And so that, I think, speaks volumes too, in that I think we're doing a good job because they wouldn't be with us this long if
And
So-
we have taken them on buying trips too. We have
Oh.
kind of showed them, some of them, how to buy wholesale. And so they would buy different items. They know it's kind of an unwritten rule in the building that you have to look around to make sure no one else is carrying that item.
Oh, okay.
But in antiques, of course, it's hard for us to find all those unique things, so pretty well they can bring in what they like to on those.
Is there anything you're really looking for that you'd like to find? Is there something out there that's been elusive that you've been looking for over the years?
We love jadeite right now. It's really hot, so I mean, we like to go find that. And there's some pieces of china that are still very, very highly collectible. So we like to find some of those highly collectible items. So.
And I think I like just the nostalgia, the vintage items that remind me of going to grandmother's house. So, and I think lots of people like those. A lot of times you'll see grandparents walking through the building with their grandkids, trying to explain to them what this item was used for. And you'll even see kids see an old dial-up phone and they don't even know how to use it, you know?
So it probably must be a fun day for you guys because you're with shoppers every day and you kind of pick up on their vibes. They're excited when they come in here and you kind of feed off of that, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Do they come up to you and say what they've found? And
Yeah, a lot of times people get excited and then sometimes they'll bring up items that I hadn't seen and I was like, well, you better be glad I didn't see that because I would have bought that. You know?
They will bring back pictures of items that they have repurposed, because I'll ask them sometimes in the checkout, what are you going to do with that? And they'll say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to paint it, and I'm going to decoupage it, and we love seeing what they have done with old items to repurpose them, so.
yeah. So you guys go to estate sales too?
We do, and then a lot of times people just call us. We will put out there on Facebook that, you know, we buy vintage and antique items, and so people will call and say, my grandmother just passed away, I've got a whole house, and we will go and look, and sometimes we'll buy, you know, selected items, and sometimes we'll clean out the whole house for them.
Now, when you guys go on the road, do you like have a trailer that you put all your stuff in?
We do. I have a Suburban, and I pull a 12-foot trailer behind my Suburban.
So you have adventures with that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We do.
I still don't know how to back it up, so I have to make sure that I never pull in where I would be forced to back up.
Once or twice.
I mean, I
she's
go all the
found
way to
somebody
Atlanta in this thing and don't know how to back it up.
So what's your farthest trip that you've taken?
Texas.
Yes,
Oh,
Texas.
you went all the way to Texas.
Yeah, and we had an adventure. We went to Dallas to market, and then we took a little day trip over to Fort Worth and saw the Stampede, went to Waco and saw the Joanna and Chip Gaines place. We went to San Antonio. We stayed in this.
That's Magnolia, is that the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we stayed.
The Junk Gypsies, too.
Yes, we went to Round Top and saw the Junk Gypsy headquarters. We stayed.
What's that?
Oh, this is who inspired me, the Junk Gypsies. They're out of Texas, and it's 2 daughters and a mother and dad, and I think they both left the corporate world. One was a lawyer, and I don't remember what the other sister did, but they left their day jobs to follow their dream. And when I read that article probably 15 years ago in Country Living magazine, it was like my soul just sang, and I was like, oh, that's what I would do too. They just like find salvaged finds, and they would take them to these events and set up at these big markets, and they just had such a style about them, and I was like, wow, if I could ever follow my heart, that is what I would do, you know. So
you're doing that.
So I met them. I met
you
them.
did?
Yeah, we kind of hit them on a day where they weren't too busy, and so I met one of the sisters. I met the mother and the father, and
We have pictures with them, and they
Yes.
took us on a tour of all their.
So they're your rock stars.
yes, they are our rock stars. They are our inspiration. And we swapped tales with them. It was a really pleasant experience. But also while we were out in Texas, we stayed in a glamper. It was a glamorized camper on a beautiful river. And then we stayed in a barn-dominium. We love Airbnbs that are unusual.
A barn-
Unusual
Barn-dominium.
places, yes. And so the next morning she gets up and she goes outside and she says, look at the baby cows outside.
I sat outside for like an hour.
Like she hadn't seen cows in Kentucky. But
Well, these were Texas.
Yes, they were
you're,
so
you're
cute.
in Texas, definitely. So mother-daughter trips, those are cool, I
Yes.
bet.
Yes.
You gotta get to bond on those
We went
trips.
to San Antonio. Then we went to Houston because we heard about this antique shop that specialized in religious art. Well, we both love religious art growing up Catholic, and my house kind of looks like a church on the inside of it because I collect religious art.
And I do too.
And we
so-
were both kind of arguing about who would get to buy what because he had such a collection. But we did. I came home with this great big painting of the Ave Maria and several religious statues that I hung up in my house. So my kids are always like, Mom, why does it look like a church in here? Because I like it to look like a church.
Well, you have the Ursuline sisters just down the
Yes.
road.
Yes, yes.
So there's probably some artifacts in there that.
In fact, they are getting ready to demolish one of their buildings.
Yes.
And we have already been there to purchase several items from them.
What'd you get?
We got a really interesting revolving bookcase that we've already sewed. We have some quilts and several other
We
religious.
still have one of the quilts that the sister made out front. So one of the sisters made.
some of the largest dictionaries you've ever seen that are still here.
Oh, well, you know, that was an academy there too. I'm sure they had a school there, so there's
Right.
probably all kinds of really unique items there. And they have a stuffed parrot as well in there that they told me about that dates back 100 years. So I don't think that's going to be for sale, but maybe they'll keep that one as in their museum forever. But anyway, you got a lot of stuff here, and I know it's a joy, I'm sure, to come work every day.
I really don't feel like I work. You know, after having a real job for 20 years where I had to get up early every morning and you know, stay till late in the evening. We have really capable staff here who do a great job, and we just kind of oversee things and dream about the future and what comes next. And you asked what is next, and I
Sure.
know that the Bluegrass Museum is looking to partner with us they're going to take some bluegrass shows on the road. And so we hope that we're going to have a bluegrass show out here one night.
Oh,
We
that'd be
might
great.
also do a dinner, like a dinner and a show here. So we're really looking forward to that and hoping that takes place.
And the preservation station is on TripAdvisor.
It is, and I know in the past we've been ranked like number 3 of things to do in Owensboro. I'm not sure if that's still the case. We might have, you know, went to number 4, but you know.
Or number 2.
Yeah, the things that are on there are like Smothers Park and the Bluegrass Museum, and you know, those are city-funded, state-funded things. So for us to be a local business and to rank up there with things that have so much funding, it's kind of an honor, I think, to know that people enjoy coming here.
Well, you have to be very proud of your accomplishments.
We started out on a small scale. We weren't, you know, funded. We didn't have a lot of funding, and so everything that we made, we put it right back into the building.
It's called pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Like you just have to keep going and keep reinvesting. And the first couple of years, we didn't even write ourselves a check. We didn't pay ourselves a salary. We just kept reinvesting.
Mother and daughter strong. Well, thanks for inviting us here to Preservation Station. Deborah Coombs and her daughter, Jennifer Higdon, mother and daughter team working together, fulfilling their dream of opening a business together. And I think it's retail therapy every day here at Preservation Station. Ladies, thank you so much for having us here at Preservation Station. I'm David James, and this is 2 Main Street on the Road.